Dangerous. Dangerous. Hello everyone.
Hello.
We are going to take you on a neat little tour of an abandoned zoo. Abandoned, sort of, is general. It's not entirely accurate. It's not abandoned, but it's the former grounds of what used to be the Crandon Park Zoo, which was the zoo in Miami for over 30 years. And it closed, and the grounds were just kind of left here abandoned for many, many years. They restored it, and it's now a gardens area, but some of these original zoo structures are still here, and it's just kind of an interesting look into the past. The zoo closed in 1980 and moved to the new Zoo Miami area a little further to the southwest of Miami. And that opened up huge environments, great spots for the animals. Let's check it out.
This is going to be very emotional, I think. Come on, let's go.
This pond area with the fountain, this area is pretty much as it was back in the day. So I was visiting the zoo quite a bit in the 70s, late 60s, early 70s. The entrance to the zoo would have been right in here. You would have come through, paid for your ticket, and come in all these paths around here. Though they've been restored a little bit, these are the original zoo walking paths. So now people walk and bike along here. And the zoo was created in 1948 when a caravan of animals, traveling circus so to speak, broke down or went out of business here, and they bought some of the animals and created a zoo here in Crandon Park, which is at the edge of Key Biscayne. The zoo grew to house over 1,600 animals. So this was one of the pits, if I remember correctly. This was where the alligators, we see some of the alligators in here, and they had a little water area. And this is what's left of it, 40 years after it closed. At its peak, the zoo had over 1,200 animals, including lions and tigers and bears, monkeys, elephants, all sorts of animals here. And we enjoyed visiting those animals all the time. In fact, lived close by, I lived very close by, we could actually hear the lions roaring at night. In the mid-60s, there was a hurricane, and they found out having a zoo and a bunch of animals next to a beach, when a hurricane hits, bad idea. A lot of animals were killed, a lot of them got loose. It just ended up being a huge disaster, and they decided then we have to find a better place, a bigger place for these animals. So they endeavored to build a bigger place. And Zoo Miami now is a massive, massive zoo. Tons of room, tons of environments provided just for the animals. So it was a huge improvement. That is looking for creatures. Crocodiles, alligators certainly could be around, but saltwater crocodiles are occasionally seen in the area. And they are protected. So you are not supposed to approach them, feed them, harass them, or anything like that. And one of the things I miss about Florida, I love Florida trees. Over here to the right, this was the monkey house, basically right here. Now you can still see the bars on top and stuff, and you can see the holes in between each, but the bars extended all the way down, so it was basically caged all the way down. So they've kept these structures as a, as a reminder or throwback to the past, but they removed the bars on the outside of them. But this is what used to be the entire monkey exhibit, and it's not a great place. And of course they had access to helping them in the back. But this is one of the there are several remaining structures here in the zoo, and this is one of them. Monkeys are living a much nicer life at Zoo Miami now. And this archway, this was one that was it's just like one of those iconic. If you went to Crandon Park Zoo, you completely remember this archway. This was where the gibbons lived. And we know this because we have a map that shows where everything was. But there would have been bars extending down from the top to the floor here. And this was the gibbon habitat. Now it's a picnic pavilion. But they would be in here in the middle, and you'd observe them from either side. And then there was a kids zoo area over here to the right. It's kind of, you can walk across the bridge, but it's blocked off and it's nothing now. There isn't really anything left there, but that was a kids petting zoo area for many, many years. Of course, these days there are things like picnic tables and benches and lots of things around here for you to enjoy it as a park, minus the animals. So walking across the bridge here, just to show you the area where the kids petting zoo area was, it was right back in here. So you can still see a little bit of the paths that existed, but it's all blocked off now and verboten. There were always peacocks around at the zoo. It's a little bit of history. There's still something left, enough that you can point to some things. And we're coming up here on another small enclosure that remains, although the bars do not. And looking over here to the left, believe it or not, these triangle shaped pavilion, this was where the lions and tigers were. And it's hard to imagine because it's open, but imagine there is, bars on the top and then curving and arcing down to the ground. So they'd arc from these pavilion tops down, and then the lions and the tigers had that little space to just wander back and forth and perhaps go insane. But this was just a little tiny area where they had the cats, and they had access. We just came around the corner, there was access in the back. I'll take a look around the back here, where I think they could bring them in if they wanted to pull them out of the exhibit, and they could come back here. And there's one over here on the other side for the other pavilion. But this is it. This was the lions and tigers exhibit. And there were more of them, because you can see over here more triangles. There were more of these pavilions for more of the cats. But this was the big cat exhibit right along this area here. So this open area here was where the giraffes and the cheetahs were. Separated, of course, but the giraffes and the cheetahs would have been lurking along these grounds here. And sometimes there was a popcorn cart right here where you could get some popcorn, because who doesn't love visiting a zoo without some popcorn?
That's right.
As a reminder, we are always in constant danger here, because somewhere around here there could be crocodiles lurking. So right in here there would have been pygmy hippos and aardvarks, animals like that right in here on the inner section. And then looking here beyond the fence, the elephant house was in this area back here. It's now covered in trees and brush and such. But 40 years ago, the elephant house was up here, back here. Here we got some ibises. They are known to be the last bird to seek refuge before a hurricane. So despite it being a little windy, they don't seem too concerned right now. Off to the right here, just past the ibises, would have been where the camels and kangaroos. Along this whole section over here, all the way around the path would have been camels, kangaroos, key deer, and bears toward the corner of the park. And then over here to this far corner, just on the outskirts of the park, were the kid rides. There weren't very many, but there were a handful of kiddie rides. And they were, you know, those small little helicopters you get in to pull the bar down and they just go up and down in a circle, kind of like Dumbo, but not nearly as high or as big. They had one of those. They had a couple like the motorbikes that go around in a circle. There was a train. There was a small train that, if I remember correctly, it circled the park. It circled the park outside the park. Went through some foresty kind of areas and stuff like that, and you could maybe see some of the animals on the outskirts. All right, so that's it. That's it. We've walked a bit around, seen some of the structures that still remain. Not too many, it's not a lot, but the paths are still there. The locations are still there if you have a good memory or a map. I had a map. The maps, we took a picture of the map last time I came through here. The map is gone. But luckily I took a picture of the map, so I still was able to reference where some of the animals were if I forgot. But it was, what do you think? Interesting tour?
Yeah, it was a nice park for people to walk and picnic and ride bikes and stuff. But if you are thinking about the history of it, it's kind of sad.
Yeah, luckily the animals moved to a much bigger zoo. Beautiful, awesome, you know, the environments that they should be in with the amount of room that they should have. So hope you enjoyed taking this look at what used to be, once upon a time, was the zoo in Miami, Crandon Park Zoo, from 1948 until 1980. So thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, comment below. Did you ever go to the Crandon Park Zoo? Let us know. Tell us your zoo stories. Thanks for watching, and remember, kids, have a good time all the time.